I will say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to our April meeting. I'll note that everyone is here except Mr. Higgins. So we've said Pledge of Allegiance. Now, we didn't have a meeting last month, so we're actually approving the minutes from February. So, any all been sent to you, and maybe any questions?
No, make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the business on tonight's particular is a promotion for is for Christopher Kearns to advance from third-class patrolman to second-class patrolman. Lieutenant?
Officer Kearns came to us from Philadelphia, and I can tell you that is one of the best hires we've had in a long time. And to back that up, we have some manpower issues, right now in the department, so we have to switch one officer from one squad to another to kind of, make a squad with 7 and another one has 5 to balance them both out at 6. Officer Kearns is just turning second class, which means he has not been with us for that long. The sergeant who was short asked if Officer Kearns would be the one that came over to his squad because he felt like being a little bit short, that if he got Officer Kearns, he wouldn't need as much supervision. He already knows what he's doing. And I think that story right there says a lot about an officer who's only been with us for 2 years, that in order to balance out a short squad, a request was specifically made for him. So he's a good person, he's a good cop, and he cares about this community. So it's a good hire.
Make a motion that we promote him.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I guess, to bring you up to date, nothing really to bring you up to date on, that we're called for the entry test, which we're just about a month away from the exam, which will be, our next scheduled meeting would be Thursday before the Saturday for the test. So I may have a conflict that night, so we will only talk about what we'll do. Depends what's coming up, what has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it on Saturday.
Saturday is the test.
And what's the
Saturday,
date again?
The 13th is
May
Saturday.
13th, yeah.
May 13th is the test. Yes.
13th, what time?
Well, we had 2 times scheduled in case we needed it, but I'll give an update on where we're at. I don't believe we're going to need to give a second test, unfortunately.
Okay, that's a shame.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been how long the day would be. We would have had the morning test and an afternoon if we
Yeah.
needed it.
How many applicants do you have?
So I checked just before I came over here, and we have 55 applicants. And
It's not very many.
if it's okay if I just say a couple words,
Yeah,
Tom?
sure, absolutely.
So, obviously, the test is the 13th. We've had it advertised now for well over a month on social media. We have it on electronic billboards in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, because Kevin Bowe is involved in that kind of business, and he dedicates open time to us. Signboards in Plymouth Townships. We have stickers on the back of the cars. We've been doing pop-up events, including one today at the Plymouth Meeting Mall. We have another one in Norristown tomorrow. Dick's is coming up. We've obviously reached out to other law enforcement agencies. We've reached out to various community groups. We have a marketing company that if you ever look at your cell phone, those ads pop up. They're all geo-fenced for a certain location. We're paying for that service. And we're still at 55 applicants. So, I mean, I don't think I'm surprising anybody in here. It's a national news story. You know, 15, 20, 30 years ago, we would have 300 to 400 applicants, and we might not even be hiring. That'd be just for a ready list. It's almost guaranteed we're going to be hiring 3 people. The council's already approved 2. We probably have an officer retiring in the next 60 days. So to have 55 applicants, and some people, we hopefully will double that in the last 3 weeks. That's the way human nature is. But so if we get to 100, but we've been putting the effort in, and we're at 55. Conshohocken recently had a test, and they had 5 applicants. And the consortium is we're like 19 departments get together to hire. We prefer not to do it that way. We prefer to do it the way we do it. But 19 get together, and I think they had like 160. And don't quote me on that number, but it was somewhere between 150 and 200, I believe, for 19 police departments. And
The numbers always do go way up, way close to the end. So I call Chrissy early, like how many tests. The week before, I can't rely on that. I have to wait till the last minute. Because
Yeah.
so many more come in at that last minute.
they do. It's just different. I mean, there's nothing that I'm saying in this room that I don't think that anybody in this room isn't aware of. It's just not a real attractive profession right now to a lot of people.
My
But
wife was telling me that she went on, I don't know, the internet, whatever it was today, and she saw where whoever's given the test, anybody that's taking the test that day can go in there and for a price,
Yeah.
they can,
We put that in the advertisement.
oh, okay.
That there is a
study guide.
study guide. It's in online, so they've got to buy it. We can't just
Yeah.
buy it and hand them to people. But they can sign up and get the course for that, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, and we've been reaching out to these community groups. The Police Officers Association, which is a group run by the officers outside of the, they're willing to pay for the test and the study guide without no questions asked. You don't have to prove to us that there's a financial need. Your word is good enough. And we pass on who the point of contact is in our department. Out of respect, I don't go to that officer and ask if anybody's ever reached out to him or not, but we have been putting the word out. But all you have to do is say you could use a little bit. This board has lowered. This test is still probably the least expensive test probably anywhere in this area. So you guys have done your part, and we're willing to pay as an association if anybody else needs a little bit of extra help.
We've always made out and could afford to keep the price low because we always, if we did a higher price, we'd make a really big profit because of all the no-shows that show up. I was always shocked how many people pay their money and don't come. So we don't want to make a profit. Not the goal here, it's just not to lose any money.
How many applicants would you have to have a second test?
I don't think there's a minimum number. If we didn't get another application, we would move forward with the 55 people.
Right, I know that we had to set up in case we needed a second test.
Oh.
How many did you need?
Oh, I understand what you're saying, ma'am.
Right.
I think that and this is off the top of my head, we would check with the training academy. I believe that we could host up to 200 probably with one test. That's why I'm pretty confident. I would have dropped to 150 maybe, but they knew that we may be having 2 tests, and when you first put this out there, you have to hope that you get like 500, and we're going to need. But just as we stand here right now, even if this could easily double, but even that I think we could absorb easily.
Yeah.
We may need a couple more. What's the term? Proctor? Is that the right term? Because we may have to split them out a little bit more into different classrooms. It's supposed to have everyone together, but we can handle 150, I think, in one test,
We've
maybe
done-
more.
We used to do the tests regularly down at Fire Academy. And we would sometimes have to spread it in 2 or 3 rooms to get all the people in.
We did that once at the school.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
the
did it at the school.
We got
We
over
did it at Fire
200.
Academy too, the rooms there, that's,
Yes, I believe the Jazz Festival was going on
Yeah,
They were double booked.
that was one of those times, I think we had almost 500 applications that time.
Yeah.
And that's not that long ago, that's the
It was,
first
the
thing.
Chief Merciades was the chief, so it had to be within that time
Yeah,
period.
Wow.
But,
yeah. I'm sure you'll do better than 55, but I'm shocked.
well, the standards are the standards, so.
But that's also why we didn't want to go with consortium, because if they're only getting 160 for their test, it'll be cherry-picked really fast, because you're going to hire 3 people on your entire list. You know, they're going to hire an awful lot of people on their lists to get down, so. Anything else on the test?
Not on the test, and we're still gonna keep,
You do.
doing events. I do have some other business, but whenever it's time.
All right, we can move on to the report on the police department. Cover anything else?
I guess we've talked now, I guess since about the beginning of the year, some of the following changes: changing the fine to 500 from 75, adding the tiers of discipline, the oral board an odd number up to 5, and they do not have rank, as opposed to right now it's 3, and they have to have rank to sit on it. And that a fine can be attached to someone on their very first citation. I'm just looking if there's a status on those things.
I sent them off to the solicitor and have not heard back.
Okay.
I haven't asked him again either. I was just waiting for him to get back. I'll follow up with him and see what they want to do.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have. Other than I'm always willing to answer any questions if I can.
All right. Again, we have no public comment. Anybody has anything for the good of the order?
No, sir.
No new business? I guess we'll adjourn and we're all going to go watch Lieutenant O'Brien give his speech.